This is JMC Live, where we share the good news of Jesus Christ. I am your host, Jeremy Caverley. At the break, I was telling you about a woman named Gloria Kirkland, that was her name, 74 years of age, invites me to go to church. And I had some time with church and different things in junior high. It was in a good situation, because I'm going to rewind. Everyone hears a story about priests and pedophiles and all that stuff. Well, I had a Protestant version of that. Junior high, 7th and 8th grade, I was invited to a summer camp because I was involved in a small missionary Baptist church in Huntington, Texas. Well, long and unbeknownst to me, this guy, and I will not mention his name, became friends with me and a bunch of other people. And he invited me back to the dorm where all the kids were at. And we were hanging out and everything. And then by the end of the week, we built a relationship, him and one of my friends, and he gave us his address and his phone number. I am 14 years of age, and this man is 31. A little strange. African American gives a 14-year-old his name, phone number, and address. This guy proceeded to start calling us for a good period of time. And we went through school, and then finally summer came along, and he finally came out to spend the night at my friend's house. After everyone finally went to bed, he proceeded to talk to me, which led to asking questions of sexual nature, which followed by fondling, and I woke up the following day, and I believed that I had been raped. My friend believed that he possibly was fondled and raped because he had some weird things. My friend from that point on referred to black people as the derogatory N-word, and the guy got kicked out of college. This is something most people don't know about my life, that I was molested by a youth minister, an African American youth minister. Here I am in southeast Texas, where I was 35 miles from Jasper, which was the very famous dragging of the African American and the big KKK stuff going on. Yet even still, in spite of this situation, I didn't let it stop me. I mean, for the whole about end of 7th grade, 8th grade, I didn't want to be involved with Christ anymore because I was kind of mad. But I forgave the guy. Not everyone knew about it back then. Of course, that's not something you want to tell everybody, that you were molested by, a person or something. But that's something that happened to me. So it took this 74-year-old woman to come to my house and say, hey, you need to come to church. We have people your age that will like you and hang out. And the youth pastor's name, and I still talk to him on Facebook, his name is Randy Wager. His wife was a nurse, and they had a Down syndrome child. And he was just like me. He's obsessed with Star Wars and Marvel Comics. My youth pastor, he had on a wall shelf of video games and toy figures, and we would play with them and play with the kids. And he was also a fan of the old comic named Gallagher. Now, this is when youth pastoring in California and other Texas and New York, where they would actually take sledgehammers and smash fruit on the stage. You would put Cheerios in your nose and blow your nose to see how far the Cheerios would go. You would play fish baseball. He'd go buy some fish, and you'd take the baseball, and you're in the audience to see how far you can whack it out. It was crazy. It was wild. I liked it. And I still have to say, I am the worldwide renowned through my old youth group, and as far as I know, unless Randy wants to tell me I'm wrong, I am the best burping contest winner he's ever seen. Because I can do this loud noise, and I can do it for very long, and I don't have to drink. I don't have to drink a soda here. I can just do it. But anyway, Randy's involved with a bunch of different people. He knows some people like lead singer for Mercy Me, and that was the guy he actually taught. He taught me and some others. So he's back in Texas again. It's really great. So a lot of people are wondering, well, if you're having this great time and youth stuff and everything, it's like you got to realize I was raising myself. I had my grandmother who was in a wheelchair who would fall out, and I would have to clean her. I'm 15 years old. I'm having to be a nurse's aide. I'm cleaning her. I'm, bathing her, washing her. I am dressing her. And trying to go to school, trying to be involved in band. I didn't date throughout my high school year. I had a tragic situation with a girl in junior high, and we got caught, so I decided I just won't do anything. So somehow, there was just the TV stuff, and my mouth, I had a potty mouth going on back then, and I still wanted to serve God. I didn't want it to stop me. Mom only came around a couple of times, and that's normally during the holidays. That's why I believe that the Thanksgiving through Christmas time, for people like me, and it's not just kids, because it also happens to adults. There are adults out there that have family members who are drug addicts, alcoholics, murderers, rapists, pedophiles, you name it. They have family members. Some of them don't. So how do you deal with these situations? How do you understand and move beyond the circumstances and the adversities in your life? That's the problem. You look at Psalm 16:8, it says, I have set the Lord always before me, because He is at my right hand. I will not be shaken. It's a new song by Phil Stacey, I will not be shaken. And not be shaken doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to cry. I cried like a baby yesterday. Yesterday, and I cried half the day. Missing my mom, being sad about how the world is, and all the stuff that's happening. I was so emotionally controlled. It was just, something I just couldn't deal with. So we fast forward all the way through high school. Things are kind of good, up and down, stuff happening. Then my junior high year, my mother drugged me, and I got sick. No, wait a minute. That's my high school senior year. My junior year, I had some weird pain. I was working out like crazy, losing weight. Went to the hospital for like 3 days and had 11 shots of Demerol. Well, normally when you're in a hospital as a woman, you get 2 to 3 shots of Demerol in an 8 to 24 hour period. I had 11 in 72 hours. They were pumping that in me every 4 hours. We don't know what it was. We think we pulled a muscle. Senior year, my grandmother dies in September. I believe it was September. It was the fall season. I can't remember the date because it's still too traumatic for me to remember. And I was given a choice to live in a few places, homes. I picked one. Got to stay there for a month. My mom took over the house. And then I got kicked out of my friend's house because they said, we're tired of your mother calling. We don't want to deal with it anymore. My aunt was paying money for me to stay there. So the next thing I know is I end up going back to that home. And the carpet, the carpet got tore up a few years before, but every single room had boxes and boxes. I literally slept on a concrete floor my senior year of high school. My mother was getting food stamps for me and my brother, but she was selling it so she could buy more cigarettes and beer. My mother was so obsessed with beer and cigarettes, she had a 4-dresser drawer, and the last 2 drawers, one drawer was full of beer, the other drawer was full of cigarettes. Underneath the bed in a special compartment, because she pulled out the stuffing, she put beer and cigarettes. So, needless to say, that Thanksgiving, it was right before Thanksgiving, I started getting sick. And then I started to throw up blood, and then I passed out. A few days later, my mom says, well, you've just been laying around. There's no big deal. You'll be all right. Time to go back to school after Thanksgiving holiday for the month of December. I'm still not all right. I can't call anyone. I'm too out of it. I'm disorientated. I'm barely able to hold down anything. My mother keeps saying, well, you can go to the hospital if you can get there. I can't drive. I'm too out of it. So I believe my mother drugged me. Tried to kill me. So I missed November through part of January. Went back to school, and they said, you can graduate if you make up the hours. Back then in Texas, you had like Saturday clock hours, and then you had clock hour a couple of days a week. You would stay for 4 hours, and it would make up like 1 hour of the time that you missed. It was a really weird setup, but I went most of the time when I could. Because when I went, I didn't have anyone to pick me up. I had to walk the 2 miles home. Yes, I'm one of those kids, 30 years of age, who if he didn't take the bus, he would have to walk. So I had to walk. And it's just one of those things. So May comes around of 1999, and it's first week of May. The girl that I had a crush on, that I wanted to go on prom with, and I wanted to hang out with, wanted to go on a date with me. I had a ride. I was going to get the tux, the whole bit. And the school pulled me aside and said, Jeremy, we are not allowing you to graduate with your graduation class of 1999. You have to drop out, get a GED, or go to alternative school. Oh, by the way, if you go to alternative school, you can no longer have communication with any of your high school friends. You can't eat with them. You can't be involved with them on campus whatsoever. This is the week of prom. School is going to graduate in 3 weeks. I'm told all I need is English 4 and economics to graduate with a general, high school diploma. Originally, I was going to get an advanced honors, but I wasn't. See, remember when I just told you a minute ago that I missed these school days? When I was a kid, I met Charlie Wilson in the 2nd grade. The guy who was involved with the war in Afghanistan, bought weapons for him. I actually met him, the real Charlie Wilson. Back then, I was very, very sick because I was diagnosed with a disease. And I missed over 100 days of school, going weeks at a time up to the chest hospital to try to get myself taken care of, test after test after test. And they tried to fail me, so they held me back a grade. We didn't win because I was told I was going to have to take the stand and my mother wouldn't let me. Fast forward, because of that and other things in society, the way school works is if you're not in school, the school doesn't get paid for the days that you miss. That is why school is so strict about wanting you to be there. They don't care if you don't learn anything. They just want their money. Well, this is another one of those situations where, in the end, they were looking at their fiscal term, and they said, if we allow him to graduate, we're going to sacrifice this amount of money. If he doesn't graduate, he won't have to be counted. I wasn't counted because I didn't graduate. So I decided to go to the alternative school, which is called PRIDE, and I can't remember what it stands for. It's like People Recognizing Intelligence, Developing Excellence, or something like that. Anyway, it's an alternative school for people who are very smart, who want to graduate very quickly, people who are on the verge of failing, people with kids, people that have problems in their lives. And I decided to go. Well, the first day, they pat you down. You go through like a metal detector and everything. And in 4 days, I spent 8 hours a day working on English 4 and economics. And I finished getting, it's not a GED, it's a high school diploma. It just says Huntington Pride High School diploma. So, I graduate. And it was good. And then my old band teacher offered me an opportunity of a lifetime. When we come back from the break, we will continue the Memoirs of a Thanksgiving Meal, where I will share with you the opportunity of a lifetime through a full scholarship to college. Be right back.